Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the first of the spring series. If I could ask you just to enjoy the webinar by switching to presenter view. If you have any questions throughout, please ask in the conversation panel. Type them up. We'll get them to at the end of the webinar, if that's okay. Make sure your PC speakers and headsets are live and turned on so you can hear us, and hopefully you will be able to enjoy it. So let me start. So good afternoon, my name's Chris Waterhouse. I'd like to welcome to the first of the IDI Pack Spring 2018 webinars. I think we're spring now. The series will focus on the digital technologies, the technologies that are available to us. Seems daily that they're changing. The applications and some suggestions where they can add benefit to your business, creating flexibility, adding value, and the je ne sais quoi. That's about the sum total of my French, by the way. That impacts your clients and your consumers and customers. So in the webinar today, we're going to be exploring direct container print with an aim to promoting the understanding and the breadth of opportunities that are created by the applications of these technologies. Okay, so let's just have a look at very briefly what we do. IDI Pack, we're a packaging and supply chain consultancy. We're based in Petersfield. As a consequence, we're quite close to Heathrow, very easy to travel around. We're working for multiple companies, sizes, large, small, whatever you like really. Multinationals, BSF, GlaxoSmithKline, Syngenta, Lizelle, Glambia, lots and lots and lots of different companies. And the great thing about that is that we're working with companies that are lots of different sizes. That generates their own challenges. They're all different, the challenges, working in many different environments. So we're optimizing and customizing our approach to deliver the pragmatically engineered solutions we're so proud of. So it's a wide and diverse customer base that we have. Okay, so what we'll talk about today is what is some of the technology application approaches, and indeed some of the challenges. Of course, active presenter, not active presenter. So we talked about some of the technology application approaches, sorry about that, and indeed some of the challenges we've seen with respect to the adoption and how they might be addressed. So I'll wrap up also with a short application case study and some conclusions as well, followed by the Q&A. So what is DCP? The benefits, the importance, the industry megatrends, the case study, as I said, and off we go. Okay, so what is it? A definition. So we see it as a set of technologies that, to be fair, as I said earlier, it's changing daily, but fundamentally creates the ability to apply print directly to the container or the package surface, even now those with the curves and difficult contours. So we're looking to deliver print capability, optimizing supply chains, reducing costs at the same time, and some would say it's actually people have used the words late stage capability. It's keeping the conversion of the pack as late as possible in the supply chain, creating the ability to personalize packs, to reduce cost, again by excluding the substrates, so potentially reducing cost. There is a capital investment, of course, but DCP is not just the sexy stuff. It's also a hugely practical way of delivering the flexibility in the supply chain and the late stage capabilities that everyone is talking so much about it. Okay, so it's a facilitator. That's the fundamental, a facilitator in terms of what it's delivering. So why is it so important? The global megatrends, whatever those megatrends are. So there's personalization. Personalization, huge area of interest to many people these days. Ever more prevalent across brands and business. Historically, however, this has been very much a sideline of the business. It's been locked at the side, and it's been managed, tolerated even, rather than embraced as a way of taking the business forward. But what DCP allows is the business to actually cuddle up to this technology, embrace the market need, and deliver it rather than reject it from a business perspective. Premiumization as well, another key area. We're looking at much more in terms of adding tactile effects, changeable effects, be it mattes and glosses effects, be it whatever it happens to be. You know, the surface finishes, the braille, all those sorts of things, creating that wow factor that draw people in when seen on the shelf. Finally, the customization, well, not finally, actually, customization, the limited edition capability to do the events, the festivals, the sports events, those promotional items. Again, it's handling these in a way within the main manufacturing environment without it being something that, hey, give it to the contract packer, give it to the toll manufacturer. It allows the manufacturing business to look after its own business and take it forward from a DCP perspective. So with DCP, the lead time for all those difficult things is negated. It's not there because as long as you get your artwork sorted, you've got responsiveness within your supply chain. And then there's the e-commerce. Again, where are we? Smaller and smaller batch sizes, batches of one. Conventionally, not wanted to. People don't want to do that. It's too difficult. It's too hard. It's too complex. It doesn't fit in with the conventional manufacture. What it does with DCP capability and indeed late-stage capabilities, the opportunity to deliver that capability that the market is demanding these days, cost-effectively. Hugely important part of a strategic manufacturing approach. Excuse me. So, smaller batches. What does that do to the supply chain? So, what it does, it creates a huge problem with efficiencies of the supply chain, within the supply chain of manufacturing. The impact on operations is massive. Manufacturing supply chain, it's an incredible impact. We've all been affected over time trying to manage the requirements without having really the technical capability for the manufacturing operations. And we can't deliver cost effectively typically. Direct container print delivers that capability within the environment of full-blown manufacture. And interestingly here, we don't have to worry about absolute speed. The absolute speed is not so much an issue because what we've got, we've got an issue here or an opportunity here where we can start to run very, very small batches. Because the changeover times are so small, we're able to produce small and smaller batches because the changeover times are not the driving issue. Equally, because of the changeover times are so quick, we can actually deliver a lot better outputs, more cost effective over time. So, in fact, I clicked on there, I apologise. So, the growth and efficiency is important. It's counterintuitive as well. I mean, it seems crazy that you do small batches and the efficiencies grow. However, once you have the capability to deal with direct container print, direct decoration, it gives you the opportunity to reduce the changeover times and give you much, much better responsiveness within the supply chain, within the manufacturing environment. It gives you this suited, it's suited to the megatrends for pharmaceuticals, for FMCG. It gives that direct to container growth benefit opportunity. So historically, the manufacturing guys have been trying to deal with this sort of demand with ill-matched equipment. I mean, there's an argument that says that by creating the DCP type capability, we're in a position where we can start driving equipment efficiencies upwards once again. Okay, so in pharmaceuticals, looking at some of the trends there, and you think, well, why does DCP have such an impact there? So manufacturing, Amazon, they've purchased a pharmacy, okay? You know, what would you bet on them to start delivering customized drug cocktails through Amazon Prime? They'll need to deliver information, however, with that. It'll be e-leaflets, it'll be printed equipment. At the end of the day, that will mean custom print. It will mean yours and mine drugs delivered, arguably through DCP type capability. This is driven by increases in life expectancy. You know, as we all grow older, the drug load gets increased. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for growing old gracefully, but we do need to deliver the capability in the marketplace, in the manufacturing environment, that allow the drug companies to really meet the patient need. Simplicity, cocktails of drugs, relevant information, all has to be delivered in an effective and cost-effective way. And equally, there are smaller markets. The markets are the BRIC countries, big markets obviously, but lots and lots of regions, Africa, and all these sorts of countries are demanding smaller and smaller batches, and that's driven by language, by dialect, by local environmental and legislative issues. And as a consequence, we're providing the access to drugs that those populations deserve. And we can only do that through direct container print, late stage type print capability. If they don't deliver, if we don't have the capability to deliver those needs, the problem we've got is that those markets that deserve the access to the drugs don't get it because it's too difficult. And we should be, you know, shame on us if we don't deliver that sort of capability, to be honest. Okay, so a quick case study. Pharmaceuticals, asthma, respiratory, fundamentally breathing. Okay, so Thomas Edison, clever guy. He argued, you know, a value of an idea lies in using it well. So using a great idea to deliver great capability is so important. And as a consequence, we start looking at pharmaceuticals. So the size of the prize, I mean, we all are driven by numbers, or a lot of us are anyway. So last sort of counts, last couple of years, sales of the world top 15 pharma companies, 524 billion. Okay, that's a great number, fantastic number. However, in the respiratory area, as an example, it's only 43%. So typically, patient adherence, therapeutic adherence levels are around about 40–50%. So what it says, in principle, that if you can increase through personalization, through other communicative means, we can create an environment where we deliver something like an extra 700 billion worth of sales. I mean, you could argue that that's lost sales. What I would argue is their sales that we can achieve going forward, or certainly some proportion of that anyway. It is optimistic. It is the whole lot. However, it does suggest that any improvement is going to create a large amount of potential saving or potential growth in sales for a pharma company. And this is driven by people just don't understand. They don't understand the effect on the disease. They don't understand the reasons for not, if you don't take the drugs, why it's not communicated well. And through personalization, they start to understand that there are improvements. You start to get the cost of the treatment. Maybe through DCP we get to a point where the cost of goods improves significantly. We get to a point where the cost of treatment therefore should fall. And that's all by using the technology. We start to communicate with the drug side effects. We start to inform people what suits them, give them information. Again, it's a communication element that we can deliver through the personalization of the packs, through the systems, to get to give people what they want and what they feel comfortable with. Excuse me, I think I need some of those drugs. Anyway, so a lot of people forget, and that's a smart type technology we can deal with as well. But it's not really so much in the DCP, but what we start to do is create this large number of different features, and as a consequence, we're adding the opportunity to deliver improvements in therapeutic adherence. Overall, there is a correlation that has been proven that adding a personalization element, a decoration, it creates the connectivity between the patient and the drug and the drug company, creating an environment where improved levels of adherence become accessible. And as we talked earlier, if we can just create a little bit of increased adherence, it's a win-win for everyone. That's the reality. So in absolute terms, we've got a situation where in therapeutics, in the respiratory area, we have a situation where it's about 43%. That's about $40 billion worth of sales annually. So that means, in theory, if we can increase another 57%, it's $53 billion of sales that are lost through non-adherence. Which means within those 53 billion, we've got forgetfulness, we've got side effects, we've got the effect on disease. So creating an environment where the drug is communicated to the patient, it's talking to the patient, it's connecting with the patient, it's delivering all those things, we get to a point where we have a great win-win. You know, we're starting to create a win in terms of everybody. It really does mean a huge difference for everyone involved in the whole supply chain. Because at the end of the day, we are all individuals. We're all individuals. We're all very different. It starts to correlate the individualization that we offer within the manufacturing environment. We improve treatment outcomes. The personalized communication, improved outcomes. Because at the end of the day, one size or one design really does not fit all. And that's why we need to do this decoration, that kind of stuff. So children, teens, adults, they're all different. Packaging systems on offer should reflect that. As I said earlier, the correlation between personalization and increases in therapeutic adherence, that's a real win-win for everyone involved, from the pharma company to the patient, to the health services in country, to insurers, to payers, to families, and so forth. Everyone wins, And we all live a little bit longer, hopefully. But manufacturing colleagues, they need to be able to deliver these needs in a cost-effective, flexible, and with control. And it's often the control that needs the most work and should not be underestimated. The technology, in relative terms, is some would say it was simple, but it's a piece of equipment. However, the back office, the integration is key. The management of the artwork, the audit trails associated with the changes within the artworks, accuracy of the artworks, regular maintenance, and all key elements that we need to address within an implementation plan. Okay, so we start to think in asthma. We start to look at the shape of these things. We start to look at the decoration. Kids want the latest superhero. Girls want the latest pop star. Teenage girls want the latest pop star. Whatever it might be, let's address the individual and actually make people, connect with the item. And that's what we can do. And pharma is just a small area within that. Okay, and then hospitals. It's the next pharma outpost. Realistically, it's a big area. So the print systems online support a number of other big pharma initiatives. The use of e-prescriptions and e-connectivity within hospitals, hugely important. You go in a hospital, you get barcoded. Then you get scanned when it's time for a drug. The prescription is on an iPad or some other, other devices are of course available. And the nurses want to ensure that patients receive the correct drugs at the correct time. Online print facilities within the manufacturing environment can cost effectively deliver all the information that's required. It's not always the case that each blister pocket, for example, track and trace is delivering cartons which are coded and traceable and all those sorts of good things. But it's not always the case that each blister pocket or vial or other dispenser is individually coded. Longer term, that will be a necessity. Switzerland, as we understand, has reportedly taken drugs off the procurement list because they do not have individual packs coded. And that, to me, is a business imperative to get the codes on. DCP provides that capability to continue to sell on an ongoing basis. Hugely important. Got to keep doing it. So, another scan picture. So, what are the other big challenges? And the packaging formats. We've looked at the asthma inhalers, those sorts of things. The technologies. Choosing the technology for the packaging format is hugely appropriate. You've got to get the right stuff. We're using the format in days gone by. We struggled with these sorts of profiles. The shapes, the tubes, the circular actions, all those sorts of things. And a few years ago, the approach to direct container print, printed containers, whatever you want to call it, we had to change the format into a flat form. We've done projects in the past where we had to convert the existing carton or the existing pack into a flat form that allowed us to print. And that's a valid approach for certain items. We then incorporated digital process in line. If you can't convert the format into a flat form, in those days, we had to avoid doing the container print, digital print online. It was a problem. The best you could do is probably apply a label. That would clearly be unacceptable and would be a business limitation. As we look forward, today, we don't have to change the format in such the same way. Okay, we can use these technologies now on tubes, on bottles, on glass, on plastic, on aluminium tube, on aerosols, All those sorts of things. We can do all that now. The machines are available. However, you've got to apply the pack technology to the pack formats. And we can deal with the profile printing as well. The speeds, some of them are getting pretty quick. They are improving daily. Just interestingly, I've just actually this morning, a latest video demonstrating sun corrugate printer running at 70 meters a minute. So the capabilities are getting there. The Heidelberg Omnifier, that is producing helmets, suitcases, many other different items, lots of funny shapes. The Michelangelo tube printers, and so the list goes on. But the cost of the technology, every production line probably can't afford to carry each of the different, every line doesn't have it. It's part of a technology, a hybrid strategy, hybrid technology approach. Production speeds, flexibility, all the while delivering patient or consumer needs. So a flexible approach, some is high tech with the DCP type technologies, other lines perhaps are more conventional technologies. It's working within the confines within your business and what you're trying to do, and that's where the strategic approach is really important. The other thing to understand as well is the colours and the tactile effects and all those sorts of things. It's very easy now to apply, the CMYK with white backgrounds, with varnishes, with braille effects. They're all available to build online, creating a huge technology capability that we can harness and deliver those interesting features that we're looking for. So, the conclusions. Some conclusions and thoughts about this type of technology. So the macro trends. We genuinely have smaller batch sizes. That is a driver. Current manufacturing capabilities are largely, in many cases, they're largely not suited to the requirement. The desire for personalised packs, the events, the festivals, the sports, the people, everyone is looking for something different. And also at high end, the luxury end, high value packs, they're also looking for that as well. And e-commerce with its added complexity. When I came upon, a little while back now to be fair, the whole bit about unboxing. It surprised me that there was such a trend for unboxing. And that is driven to a large extent by people enjoying the experience of an e-commerce situation and wanting the retail environment, the nice box, the great box, the Apple iPlayer type thing. And all that kind of thing is all driven equally by the decoration. So getting the decoration right, even in an e-commerce environment, and that leads to the single batch sizes and all that sort of good stuff. So it links everything together by having the direct container print, by having the late stage capability. Hugely important to deliver the needs of the marketplace. There's a whole YouTube channel that shares experiences about unboxing. Incredible. But a word of caution. The back office needs to be equally flexible. The ability to capture artworks to ensure the capabilities within the coherent manufacturing strategy. The artwork management, the approvals, the audit trails, maintenance of the equipment for ongoing accuracy. In pharmaceutical, you don't want to miss any dots or miss any T's or whatever it happens to be. They're all key elements to delivering a great and flexible direct container print strategy and arguably late stage capability. Late stage capability creating that flexibility within the entire manufacturing environment. Hugely important. And the trends, smaller batch sizes, manufacturing capability, not suited to the requirement, we talked about that. And there's some other examples there. So the packs suited for individual sports events, conventionally these would not be available typically. And direct container print allows you to do that without having to resort to contract packing, to toll manufacturers and those sorts of things. It's a facilitator. Use the technology and it will deliver for you return on investment. One small case study to talk about, HP worked with Oreo biscuits in the US and created a web page where they were able to colour in, the kids were able to colour in boxes of Oreos. These Oreos typically on the retail side, $2.99 for a box, or $2.99 for a box of biscuits. Through the website, they are printed, messaged up, personalised for the individuals. They were retailing at $15.99 with delivery, which sounds incredible for a $2.99 box of biscuits. However, they were pretty, they were coloured, they were personalised to the individual. And as a consequence, people were buying them. They were going through the whole process and getting there. 98% conversion rates. However, what was really interesting as well is that the average purchase was not just one box at $15.99, it was actually 2.5 boxes. So people were spending $30, $35 for $6 worth of biscuits because they were personalised. That's the value add, that's the difference. But that doesn't work unless you have a real capability converted into your manufacturing environment to actually deliver the bits and pieces for you. So, hugely important, direct container print, late stage, whatever you want to call it, having that digital capability gives you huge flexibility. It's going to be needed and going to create a lot of value add over the coming years for lots of businesses. So, thank you, as we draw to an end, thanks for the kind attention. Something of a gallop through to fit in the time for this growing technology field, and it's getting bigger daily. I hope you enjoyed some of the stories. We'd welcome feedback on, or indeed, if you want to discuss anything outside of this, we'd love to help you to develop that capability within your business. We do, as I said, I asked for a few questions. We do have some questions. If I can find them, there we go. Right, okay. Steve has asked, building a strategy. How do you build a strategy? Any thoughts and learnings on developing such a strategy in a change program? Okay, that's pretty wide-ranging. Okay, so the first thing is to really understand the business. What are you trying to do? You know, it's getting the scope right, getting everything right at the front end, and actually understanding. Are you talking DC? You know, from B2C? Are you talking for a retail, e-commerce, or whatever? Because that will affect everything. It affects the speeds. It affects the type of equipment. What you're trying to actually customize. We've done work on for instance, customized thermoformings, as an example. You know, flexibility in thermoformings with the decoration that goes with that. Lots of interesting approaches. One size, as I said earlier, does not fit all. The strategy just involves getting right into the business, understanding what you're trying to do, because there will be a solution. Absolutely, there will be a solution. It just depends what you want to do with it. And building that strategy, working with the business, and working with your customers as well. What do they really want? Understanding that is really important, we've found. Okay. Next one, Joel has commented, DCP sounds great. Can you share some examples where folks are working on it in mass production environments? Okay, pharmaceuticals, for example, are they using it to address the tail of the SKU trail? Okay, the answer to that is yes. There are, obviously can't tell you which companies they are. There are a number of companies where we call it SKU tail. You know, you have, you know, 20% of your profit comes from, or 80% of your profit comes from 20% of your business. The rest is this slope, this tail of SKUs, which the manufacturing and supply chain guys want to cut off. The marketing and sales guys want to keep forevermore, because actually it supports the other stuff. So what's a couple of areas we've done work. We've done work on a few years ago, as I said, we converted a line to put digital print online. We changed the formats of the packs and then printed onto a film, which was then applied to a thermoform tray. That was a hugely interesting project. Saved a lot of business, very quick return on investment, gave huge flexibility, and haven't looked back at all. Another project was done on actually in food. They were looking at some powder packaging. It was in a flexible film. We incorporated digital print within the lines using our partner company. Incorporate that into lines, and as a consequence, we were able to give them that ability to deal with the tail, the SKU tail. I'm having someone waving at me now saying it's about time to wrap up, and I'm just looking at the clock, and it is time to wrap up. I want to thank you again for your helping and watching the webinar. It's the first of the spring series. It will be available on the website afterwards. We're going to register it or put it up later on today or tomorrow. We look forward to your feedback. Please be in touch if you'd like to. Reach out. We'll incorporate that into the program if you've got any other subjects you'd like us to speak on. So thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it, and hope to speak to some of you too. Thanks a lot for your time. Cheers. Goodbye.